KASPA versus XRP price forecast. This analysis shows that KASPA has an unfair advantage. But is that really the case? Over the past few weeks, I have received hundreds of messages. Marius, which coin will deliver the highest returns in 2025? The answer will surprise you, because my data-driven analysis paints a completely different picture from what most investors believe. In this video, I break down all the numbers and show you why one of these two coins has a mathematical advantage that 99% of investors overlook. Welcome to 10x by Marius, your channel for honest, data-driven altcoin analysis. First, let's go over what KASPA actually is. KASPA is essentially a layer 1 blockchain with DAG technology. Unlike Bitcoin or Ethereum, KASPA doesn't use linear blockchain technology, but instead allows for parallel blocks. The result, extremely fast transactions and rapid finality, with almost no confirmation time. No VC funding, no pre-mine, fair launch, proof of work, but more modern. The goal, a decentralized, scalable infrastructure for payments and micropayments without a layer 2 solution. Technically strong, community-based, and currently still massively under the radar. That's KASPA. So, what exactly is XRP? XRP was ultimately developed for fast, cross-border payments, a kind of bridge between banks and countries. Technically, XRP is based on the XRP ledger, a layer 1 network, but without mining and without staking. Instead, it offers ultra-fast transactions of under 3 seconds and minimal fees. RippleNet and on-demand liquidity actively use XRP in payment transactions worth billions. However, a large portion of XRP is still held in Ripple's escrow. Conclusion: XRP is established, efficient, and aims for global scaling, especially in the banking sector. But its growth depends heavily on the banks. So, before we get started, grab yourself a coffee, leave a like for me, and then let's go. But a quick disclaimer, my channel does not provide financial advice, it is purely for informational purposes. Let's start with the hard facts. KASPA is still in the mid-cap sector. What does that mean? It means that KASPA is still quite undervalued and the growth potential is definitely enormous. XRP, on the other hand, is already a high-cap altcoin. So, its growth is limited. Unless there's a but. Why a but? For that, it's best if you check out my full analysis of XRP, which I'll link at the very end of the video. Can XRP really reach $1,000? All of that is covered in the full analysis at the end of the video. So, what about the circulating supply? With KASPA, over 91% is already in circulation, which is extremely strong. There was no pre-mine here. Instead, they had a fair distribution based on the community. And with XRP, 59% is already in circulation. That means, of course, that quite a lot of tokens are still to come onto the market. That's a risk. KASPA offers a more exciting structure here, because it's valued lower and therefore naturally has much more upside potential, whereas XRP is already more solid, significantly safer, but the upside is also limited. By the way, if you're interested in altcoins, for example KASPA or even XRP, then I recommend my favorite crypto exchange. Why? Because there are loads of altcoins there, the fees are low, and you even get a bonus if you sign up using my link. I recommend registering early with an exchange that offers a wide range of altcoins. Because when the altcoin season kicks off, you'll want to be able to react quickly. And if you're now wondering, what's he on about again with this altcoin season? Nothing's happening, is there? Then have a look at my video linked above afterwards. I've made a video about when the altcoin season could start and what conditions need to be met in the first place. All the information is in the pinned comment. Now, let's continue. What about the tokenomics and the token's inflation? KASPA is a proof-of-work coin with an inflationary model. But the max supply is only 28.7 billion and will soon be reached. There are no staking rewards, no burns, so it's more of a classic structure. XRP was completely pre-mined, but it has a fixed supply. There are no new emissions, which makes XRP deflationary, because a few XRP are burned with every transaction. Either way, when it comes to energy efficiency, XRP is ahead. They clearly use the more efficient consensus mechanism. Conclusion: XRP scores points here in terms of sustainability and long-term deflation. KASPA, on the other hand, comes across as a bit old school here, but it does have a clear structure. And the proximity to max supply, meaning that 91% of the tokens are already on the market, is extremely positive. That makes it a very scarce asset. So, what about the tech and the use case? KASPA uses the so-called block DAG technology. In plain English, this means it can process multiple blocks in parallel. The goal is 100 transactions per second with instant finality. Use case: fast payments, for example. They plan to introduce smart contracts in the future, even this year, which will be a game changer. And XRP is a layer 1 blockchain with the XRP ledger, specializing in international payments, that is, cross-border transactions. In the end, it acts as a bridge between fiat and crypto. With real partnerships with banks, for example American Express, they are extremely well positioned for the future, especially in America. In terms of development, XRP is ahead. Major banks are relying on XRP, DeFi, RWA, stablecoins. However, KASPA is catching up here, even though it is still a young project. Conclusion: KASPA is technically extremely exciting, but XRP has a broader base and is much more accepted, especially among institutional investors. By the way, if you want more of these duels or my in-depth analyses with price scenarios, 4 in total, then I recommend the playlist The 10x Universe. I've already analyzed lots of altcoins there and also done several duels. And for next weekend, I've analyzed 2 more altcoins that are extremely exciting. One of them is a real low-cap altcoin that you probably haven't got on your radar. I hadn't had it on my radar until now either. Why this altcoin is so exciting, it's best if you find that out for yourself. Feel free to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss anything. Then we come to the community. How strong is the community? How is it growing? KASPA has grown extremely strongly on X recently. The community is active, the community is vocal, and very decentralized. You can really tell that KASPA is built on its community. XRP is a real veteran. An enormous number of followers. There's the XRP army, millions of followers on X. The adoption is huge. The banking sector is involved. However, KASPA's growth over the past 3 months has been stronger than XRP's. But XRP has a greater reach. At the moment, KASPA clearly has the community hype. Whoever looks at Monumentum is looking at KASPA. If you're after stability, you look at XRP. By the way, are you more Team XRP or Team KASPA? Let me know in the comments. Now, let's move on to the vision of XRP and KASPA. What does it look like there? KASPA wants to be the fastest POW, that is, proof of work chain, in the world, and this year aims to introduce smart contracts, layer 2, and focus on DePIN. No CEO, no company, just the community. Bitcoin 2.0. XRP, of course, wants to act as an intermediary between banks and countries, institutions and crypto. A clear use case, a strong community. The vision of XRP is clear. They want to bring banks and crypto together. The XRP army is huge. The KASPA community is growing. XRP clearly has strong investors. KASPA doesn't need strong investors. That can be a disadvantage, but it can also be an advantage. KASPA is definitely the wilder bet. XRP is the more established solution. Both narratives are strong, but completely different. Now we come to the potential check. If we're honest, both are in completely different worlds. KASPA is more of the wild underdog. Small market capitalization, strong community, huge growth potential. It's not perfect, but it's hungry. If you're looking for a 10 to 20 times return, you're more likely to find it here, but of course with higher risk as well. And XRP is the seasoned veteran with billions in capital, real use cases, and connections to banks, institutions, and regulators. It grows slowly, but more steadily. In short, KASPA is more speculative, more explosive. XRP, solid, but still with good upside potential. What you make of it is your decision and depends on your strategy. But one thing is clear, both have their place in the cryptoverse. By the way, if you want to know whether I hold KASPA and XRP or both in my personal portfolio and want full access to the 10x ranking list, then a little advertising on my own behalf, then I recommend my 10x Elite membership. There, you have full access to the 10x ranking list. You get complete insight into my personal portfolio, and you can also see my watch list, where I show which coins am I currently keeping an eye on. Which ones am I buying more of? You're fully informed, so what are you waiting for? Feel free to give it a try. You can pay with PayPal, you can pay with credit card, but you can also pay with crypto, and you don't have to commit to a monthly subscription. You can simply get access for just 30 days if you like. All the information is, in any case, in the pinned comment. And now, let's move on to the price predictions. For KASPA, if it reaches a certain market share, $2 to $4 would be possible. However, adoption needs to be right here, and above all, smart contracts need to deliver. And XRP, between $5 and $8. And now you're probably wondering, is $1,000 even possible? I'll be happy to explain that to you in the full analysis on the end screen in a moment, as I'll link the video to the analysis there. Now you're probably thinking, how are these $1,000 for XRP even possible? If you're interested in that, then go and watch the full analysis on XRP now. And if you're interested in KASPA, I've also got the analysis of KASPA here with 4 different price scenarios. Have fun, and see you in a moment.